Hi, I'm Matthew.
And I'm Milan. We were both affected by life threatening medical conditions during our early teenage years, and both received wishes from the Make a Wish Foundation.
After our wishes were granted, Milan and I both joined the Make-A-Wish Youth Board, where we met and decided to start our podcast, The Wish Kids.
Our podcast highlights experiences and life from a sick kid's point of view and offers more insight into the magic of a Make a Wish.
Welcome to The Wish Kids.
Today is a super magical day, and I think a really great episode because we just got news that Michael Jordan decided to make a record breaking donation to the Make a Wish Foundation. And we obviously care a lot about Make a Wish. And we also have our first guest of season 2 going to be joining us here shortly. So I think we're really excited about today's episode.
Yeah, big day for everything. I mean, Michael Jordan, as we said, he's making a $10 million donation to Make-A-Wish, that's the largest individual donation ever received. And this is in celebration with his 60th birthday, which is
Wow.
on Friday, which is also my dad's birthday. Happy birthday, Dad.
Oh, happy
Love you.
birthday.
But yeah, MJ has always been huge supporter of just like different foundations, different very meaningful causes. I looked up a quick little list. He's donated in the past to Make-A-Wish, St. Jude Children's Research Hospital, the Nevada Cancer Institute, and also Boys and Girls Club of America. I saw also that in 1996 he founded a Chicago area Boys and Girls Club that he dedicated to his father. So it's he's always been very adamant about giving back to communities and people and organizations that need it and that do great things, such as Make a Wish. So this is really, really awesome of
Yeah,
him.
it seems like he has a really good philanthropic heart going for him. And as you mentioned, it's like the single largest donation in the 43-year history of the organization. And I think that's just like such a big deal. And like just, oh wow. I don't know. I think that's just really cool that he would do that for his birthday.
Yeah, that's a great way to spend your birthday.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah,
And he even said that like in one of the quotes that he couldn't think of like a better birthday gift than seeing other people join him in supporting Make-A-Wish so that like, every child can experience the magic of having their own wish. And I just think that's like, oh my God, that makes my heart so warm that like an organization I care about and has helped me so deeply, seeing other people be inspired to also give back. And I know that like his donation definitely helped kind of push other people to also want to donate and be a part of the magic that Make-A-Wish creates for kids.
yeah, it's a pretty incredible thing Make a Wish does, and pretty incredible thing that Michael Jordan did. So hopefully, yeah, this spreads some more awareness for an already incredible organization. I mean, whether you're a Chicago Bulls fan, a Washington Wizards fan, maybe a Chicago White Sox baseball fan, he was there for a little while. If you're a LeBron supporter or you love MJ for all he's done, I hope that you love Make a Wish regardless.
Yes. And because we love Make-A-Wish so much, we wanted to kind of hear from somebody who's really involved in Make-A-Wish and a part of the organization. So we are really excited to welcome our guest, Amparo, onto this episode, and she's going to tell us a little bit about what she does. Happy Friday, and we are so excited to welcome our guest, Amparo from Make-A-Wish Greater Bay Area.
Woo! Thanks for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Yes, we are so excited. So do you want to tell us a little bit about what you do at Make-A-Wish and a little bit about yourself, and then we'll like get into the episode?
Yeah, so officially at Make-A-Wish, title is a bilingual program associate. So generally I have a little bit of a different role from my other colleagues who might hold that title, because I handle what we call intake. So I am at the front of the process. I have a very special position where I get to speak with every single Wish family that comes to our pipeline. So I handle a lot of the paperwork aspect and policy. So I work with the families to determine their wishes, make sure that they complete all necessary paperwork so that we can move forward and go from there and like actually getting it to a planner who's going to plan their wish. I really am passionate about like nonprofit field and helping others. I come from a background in psychology, so I just felt like going to nonprofit field would help use that interest. And I just, Make-A-Wish seems like a great fit. It's a great organization that helps so many people of so many backgrounds, and just I love my job. That's what I like telling people. Like I think that I landed at the best position I could be at the moment. So I'm just really happy to like be combining my passions for helping others with the work I do day to day.
That's
That,
awesome.
yeah,
Do
that's
you
so awesome
feel
to hear.
like you just get to meet so many different people and like it impacts like kind of your worldview because you've gotten so many perspectives?
Yes, it definitely does. I feel like, every family is so different and it helps me learn. Like there are some illnesses I honestly didn't know existed until I started working here. And just the challenges that these families face is just, you know, I'm amazed every day by what their families go through and how, so they have to deal with these illnesses in their children, and they're still going strong. And I think I love just meeting the actual children that go through this. Like it's such a hard thing to go through as a child. And I personally have dealt with cancer in my family, not in a child, but in adults. And I can see how hard that is in an adult. I just can't imagine a child go through all that. So yeah, I just feel like the work I've done here has helped me grow as an individual. And just I learned so much from these families every single day.
Yeah, that's amazing. You said that you get to meet, yeah, every single Wish family, right? That must be so incredible to just see like how much of a difference a Make-A-Wish like does for them and how big of a impact it has on their lives.
Yes, exactly. Like every single family, like I said. That's also why it was so important that they hire a bilingual person here at the Bay Area chapter for my role because we have a high Spanish speaking population in the Bay Area. So I do a lot of that, actually working with the families at the language that they need. For other languages that come up, I might have to use a volunteer to help me translate. But yeah, every single person that goes to the pipeline, like I work with them. Usually, it can be small conversations. Sometimes they fill out the paperwork, and we're like, okay, it's straightforward, wish, good to go. Sometimes it's more like, okay, maybe we can't do all that, but here's what we can do.
Yeah,
That's
that's
awesome.
awesome.
How did you know that like when you were picking your degree and like that's like kind of what you wanted to do and that like how did you get involved really like from education to Make-A-Wish? Like was there other things you did in between or was it like you heard about Make-A-Wish and thought that's what I'm gonna do?
Yeah, I mean, just for going back and like you said, my degree, so psychology comes from a very personal experience dealing with mental health. As a teenager, I saw how hard it can be for kids to deal with mental health as a personal experience. And I wanted to do psychology. My original idea when I went to college was I wanted to be a therapist that worked with teenagers. That did not pan out because I realized I had to go to grad school and that would be a lot on me personally. But I mean, it was always that intuitive need of like, I want to help others. And that is always what drove me, like during my education, that's what I wanted to get to. And I graduated not too long ago, about 4 years ago from UC Santa Barbara. And
Yay,
yeah,
congratulations.
Yeah,
thank
That's a
congrats.
very big accomplishment because,
you.
you know, pursuing higher education isn't always attainable for a lot of people. So I think that's like really beautiful that you did finish and you got it. And
Hmm.
I know that's like really important to people.
Thank you. Yeah, I wasn't the first in my family to graduate from university, so
Wow,
very big
amazing.
accomplishment on my end. So thank
Yeah,
you.
congrats.
Congratulations. That's big. That's like a really big accomplishment.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, and that also just was like that drive to, get my education and then use it in a positive way. Psychology isn't exactly, something that you would expect to bring you to the nonprofit field again, because people are thinking social workers and therapists. But again, it's again that intuitive need of me wanting to be like, I want to help others in my professional career. I did something else between coming to Make-A-Wish. I just, was looking for another job and it's more in the corporate world. So I did not like being in the corporate world. There was a lot of sales involved, and I hated that aspect of competing with people and just I felt icky, if I'm being honest. And so I knew that the nonprofit field was where I wanted to end up with. And when I saw Make-A-Wish's posting, I remember I actually sat on it for a bit. I was like, I feel like that can be really hard work. And I had the misconception, like many other people, that it was for terminally ill children. So that also was very stressful. Think of the idea of children dying that I'm working with. But I just took the risk of applying and seeing where things go ahead. And once I started interviewing, they're very thorough here. It was about 5 interviews. I was able to learn a lot about exactly what Make-A-Wish did, and it just seemed like a great fit and something that I was, that I could use my skills at to help.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
It sounds like you're in a pretty great spot for yourself right now. So very, very happy for you to hear that.
Thank you.
Yeah, and it sounds like, yeah, you didn't really know much about Make-A-Wish before getting into it. So yes, if you want to speak more about what you've learned about it, you said like, or you already said it's not for terminally ill children, but is there anything else that has been like eye-opening to you? Um,
Well, yeah, no, I think there's besides terminally ill children, there's a lot of aspect of people thinking it's only for kids with cancer. So, at the end of the day, it's not, and it's for, a lot of children that have a lot of range of illnesses and disabilities. We always say it's for children with critical illnesses. So that could be, a lot of different illnesses at the end of the day. And then I think people also have the misconception. It's like, oh, well, it's the organization that sends kids to Disneyland, which they don't. They do a lot of other things besides Disneyland. So that's also been something that I think it's been really fascinating seeing what the wishes kids come up with. Oh, I once had a wish too for a child that he was really like into fishing and like he wants to meet like a celebrity fisher. Like I didn't know that you could be a celebrity fisher,
yeah.
but
Yeah, I'm gonna say that's the first time I've ever heard about like a
yeah.
celebrity fisher.
So, things come up that you never hear about sometimes. Really kind of expands my worldview. I'm always learning like new YouTubers that I never knew existed, TikTok stars, and just what the kids are into. Because even though I feel like I'm a pretty young person, the kids are always into something I've never heard of.
And
That's
it
actually
keeps you up to date.
Yeah.
yeah, that's a big part I didn't think about really because Milan's very up to date on social media, much more than I am, and so she'll always update me on these episodes and even just us talking. So I'm sure, yeah, it's very fun, but also maybe intimidating to hear about all the new up and coming names and stars and people like, oh, I had no idea that was even a person and they're famous with millions of followers. Like what?
Yeah, that happens to me a lot with the YouTube stars. Because I think I'm also pretty up to date on what the kids are watching and hearing and all that kind of stuff. But like for YouTube, I have no idea. Or TikTok too. I use other social medias.
I bet like just meeting all of these people have like been really inspiring. So I'm sure you like to inspire other people. And I kind of just wanted to hear like what advice or career path would you suggest other people take to kind of be in a similar position who wants to do what you do?
I think that what a lot of people don't realize, like if they want to get into the nonprofit world, a good way to start, if maybe you're not ready to take that step, is to volunteer. Make-A-Wish is specifically always looking for new volunteers, and I think in general, like we would appreciate, brand new faces, young faces too, because I feel like we sometimes don't a lot of people are like in younger age groups don't know that you can just go out and volunteer for nonprofit groups and it's like a really great experience. And then if you start not volunteering at different organizations, you can learn what you're into, and find that role that you might actually end up applying to. And of course, if you're getting to know the people that work there, they might recognize you when you apply and get that chance. Which I also, though, I do realize that there are limitations. Not everyone has the time to do free work. So, I think at the end of the day, I think it's just taking the time to like look into nonprofits, which, it can take a while. It took me a long time to find the right fit for a nonprofit role. It's a I'd say very small and competitive industry sometimes because a lot of people want to get into it. So it can take some time to get to that right fit, but there are a lot of great organizations out there that they can get involved with.
Yeah, that's great advice. Yeah, I agree that volunteering is a great step in that direction. And like you're saying, nonprofits, they can be competitive to get an actual job in, but it also takes a very special heart to be a part of that,
Mhm.
which it sounds like you have. It's just that wanting and desire to just always give back and help others, and that's really
Yeah,
special.
yeah, thanks.
We want to ask also, because of your psychology degree, and then also you mentioned, or I don't know if you mentioned, but on your form they filled out a minor in socioculture linguistics. How have these helped you in your job so far, do you think?
Well, I psychology, I mean, it's just the ability to connect with others. Again, I don't have a master's or anything, so it's not like I'm psychoanalyzing these families at my job. But it's just the ability to understand. And I mean, obviously everybody has some level of empathy, but I feel like learning more about how people function helps, grow that further empathy with people. And social cultural linguistics is just kind of a fun one that I threw in there. But I ended up being really passionate about this field because it's more to do with this child like language can impact others, which again ties a lot into my role because sometimes people don't have access to things because of language. So that I work with again a lot of the Spanish speaking families on a more I have to do a little bit more of a getting down to the level of where someone that might not be aware of Make-A-Wish in general, like how they navigate the system of Make-A-Wish. They don't, we have to make sure we have, different, like even the forms, like you would want to make sure that someone can read what they're signing, which, can be sometimes difficult because, we don't have forms in every single language. We only have them basically in English and Spanish. So sometimes we have to sit down and translate with people that speak other languages. And I think it just, people kind of forget how important language is to access the world, which is something that I think is super important. So I also wanted to make sure I was in a position where my bilingualism could help other people, get access to things they need, which has actually helped a lot of families here at Make-A-Wish.
That's awesome. I love that you are so empathetic and that like that was kind of the course of action you took. And like do you feel that there was like experiences like we you don't have to go too deep into this if
Mhm.
it's too personal, but that kind of impacted your choice that like psychology was going to be the kind of anchor to your future career?
Yeah, there was just when I was a teenager, there was a lot going on at home. It was a very difficult time for me as a teen. So I just, I saw that the work that psychologists and, other people in the psychology field, social workers, and, just people that worked in those places could do for kids, both my age and, younger children. So that's how got really passionate into psychology. And just in general, I feel like everybody has, a hard time with something. There is not a person in the world that does never struggled with anything. I think it would be very hard to even ask somebody like, have you never struggled with anything? And they would say yes. So I think at the end of the day, everybody's going through their own battles, and having someone that's just willing to listen and help you out is just super important. I think, and with psychology and Make-A-Wish, like I think sometimes these families, they might just need someone to listen to them. Their child is going through so much, and maybe the doctor at the hospital, they had a bad day there with their child, and they'll get a call from me, and sometimes they just need to let it out. And I let them, they can just, I have parents that sometimes aren't at their best, sometimes they are actually, and it just helps, that they have someone to talk to.
Yeah, that's amazing that you do that for them. And we talk a lot about mental health and
Mhm.
outlets and ways to relax and just help to decompress, really de-stress.
Yeah.
Do you have ways that you do that for yourself?
Yeah. Yeah. I'm a baker. I like to bake.
Ooh,
What's your favorite thing
nice.
to bake?
I like to make cupcakes, but I usually
Ooh.
don't really focus on the frosting, more like I just making like really good bread, basically. Yeah, but I love cupcakes. Sometimes I make a cheesecake. So that's one of
Oh.
the things I do. Just general like reading, a lot of shows, very big, like Netflix addict, stuff like that.
Nice.
And then I have a dog, so sometimes I might just
Oh,
need to get out, take her for a walk.
yeah.
Yes, Matthew loves walking, so that's like a
I
Mhm.
was about to say I don't have a dog with me here, but I love going for walks just by myself. Just.
Yeah, no, I think walking is getting out in nature is just one of the best ways to decompress. Which sucks
Hmm.
kind of in the city. But when you can get out, it's great.
Yeah, baking's a great way too because I
Mhm.
like to cook a lot. I know Milan likes to bake as well, and it just is a very good feeling of being in the kitchen with yourself for a while, maybe listen to music, listen to a podcast, and just.
There's something therapeutic about following a recipe for me. I know it's actually very controversial for people with baking that don't like it, but like, oh, I have to follow everything perfectly or it's gonna be messed up. And I like taking the time to measure things out and everything.
Hmm. I think
yes.
that's why I enjoy cooking. I think more than baking is because I like to have that free flowing and just
Mhm.
like toss a little this, a little that, whatever in there. Whereas,
Yeah, no, that's also really nice.
Just experiment there.
Mhm.
mhm.
Yeah. I'm in between. I sometimes like I made my own oatmeal raisin cookie recipe because I could
Mhm.
not find one that suited exactly what I wanted. So I was just like,
Yeah.
okay, I'm DIYing this and I was just combining things.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I love making my own recipes too, but it's more like once I make it, I write it down and I follow it the same way. So I'm still following something,
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
yeah, I do also get into those experiments. Like I came up
Mhm.
with like a pineapple coconut really good recipe once. That one, those are some of people's favorite cupcakes that they try for me.
Wow. All
That sounds
right.
good.
That sounds very good.
Yeah.
You ever bring those to the Make-A-Wish families or into the office with you?
Yeah,
Little treat.
sometimes I brought them into the office.
Yeah.
It's just kind of hard to carry those on the BART train.
Yeah. Maybe. Well, that's
Yeah,
so
I
awesome.
I think I enjoy like the fact that it's just kind of like my time in the kitchen.
Mhm.
I'm just like mixing. You can like get any stress out on the that dough and just be like, okay, this is
Yeah.
how we're doing. And then it like also the music and the ambiance that we can put on in the background just contributes to the whole experience of baking. It's so great. So I think that like that's a great little way of just like relaxing.
Yeah, no, it's just and I didn't even like know I was good at it until like not too long ago. Like a couple years back, I realized, oh, I can bake. And it's actually pretty good. So I was realizing this, I was like, oh, this is really also like very de-stressing. Like I can use this for like myself.
That's an awesome
Minor
discovery.
inconvenience. I'm pulling out the brownies.
Yeah, exactly.
That's a very great discovery to find something that you're not only good at, but also you feel good doing.
Exactly. Yeah.
That's very fun. Milan mentioned music, listen to music while baking, and I think now's a good time to speak about our music recommendations. If Amparo, you want to say your music suggestions first for us, if you don't mind.
Yeah. So mine's are a little one of mine is a little bit more melancholic. But it's a very calming song. It's I've Been on Losing Dogs by Mitski. Just like it's so calming, even though again it's very sad. It's kind of really sad, but I really enjoy it. I don't know
She
if you've
has
heard of
such
it.
a great voice. It is so beautiful. Like when you suggested that, I was really excited. I was like, oh my God. Yeah.
Yeah, no, it puts me in like a very calm mood. So again, it's like more like those relaxing kind of songs. Good album to listen to in general. So that's one. And then my other song is Enchanted by Taylor Swift because I have been waiting on that re-record and I've been listening to it lately. And it's just like in one of my more favorite like of her early music because it's like very like storytelling, like nice to follow along. I can visualize everything she's saying and my head when I listen to it. So I really like that one.
I had never listened to much of this Taylor Swift album before, and to be honest, like seeing the songs over 5 minutes, it threw me for a second. I was like, oh. But then I got into it. I really really liked it, so I think I want to go back and listen to more of not only this song, this whole album by her.
Yeah, I mean it's a really great album and she like self-wrote this at like 19. So at first of all, I was like, what was she going through when she was writing all this? But it's a lot. I really like them. They're very visual songs, I would say. Like most of that, like a lot of storytelling. So that's a great album, and I really hope she gets to re-record that soon too.
Yes, I have been waiting. I've also been pushing for a entire Taylor Swift themed episode because she has so much music that like you can't just do it in like the last 30 seconds of the episode. So I was like, we need to talk about this because she's done a lot of work for Make-A-Wish as well. And then like there's a girl who was on our youth board
Mhm.
that also had a wish with Taylor Swift. And I just think that would be super cool if we could like get her on and be like, let's talk about Taylor
Yeah,
Swift.
I mean, I'm like a huge fan. Like,
So she's amazing. She has like such like just the lyrics are so visual and it's like
exactly.
I'm creating stories in my head. It's so cool.
Yeah, like for the speak, like if we're on that Enchanted, like Speak Now album, one of the songs that it's kind of unconventional that it's my favorite is actually the Speak Now song because of how visual it is. I think it's funny at the same time when I listen to it. It's just a very like just ridiculous kind of song, but I can see every single scene she's painting in the head. So I'm just like, this song is just like, whoa, like what? It's just like it throws me off. But yeah, I mean, and the thing for Taylor Swift, I feel like, there's something for everybody. Like she has so many like genres in her repertoire. So there's something for everybody in there.
Yes,
If
she's
we do end up recording that Taylor Swift episode, we might need you back on, and you seem pretty passionate about
I'm
her.
kind of a little expert on her.
the fan account. Do you have a fan account? I used to have one. Not for Taylor Swift, but like I've been a fan account era. That was the whole
Yeah,
thing.
yeah, no, I've definitely done that. And just, it's so kind of weird, but Yeah, when people like will be like, "Oh, like you're on Twitter," I'm like, "It's not for the public to follow."
Yeah.
That's my own personal bubble between me and the other few thousand
Other
people who
people, yeah,
also
exactly.
like
Few
Taylor.
thousand exactly.
On the Taylor Swift pipeline, I was a huge Jonas Brothers fan, so I was like really
Uh-huh.
excited when they were together. And then like obviously back to December. Anyway, um my suggestion today is going to be Burn It Up from the Jonas Brothers because I felt like it kind of segued
I
perfectly
did.
with
Yeah.
that. And then my second one is Dance Dance by Cage the Elephant.
Cage is a very, very fun band. I like a lot of their stuff. I didn't get into them till like pretty recently, like a few years ago, but I really like a lot of their stuff. And Joe Bros,
Yeah.
I saw them in concert a few years ago, which was awesome.
Really?
Really, it was very fun. I was very surprised by how fun I had.
I've never gotten a chance to see them, but definitely was big on Jonas Brothers for a while, especially as a kid.
Yes.
I remember the devastation I got when Joe Jonas cut his hair because I was really into that straightening hair.
Yeah, my songs this week, I chose Stay by Rihanna, and it's featuring Mickey Echo. She just performed in the Super Bowl this past weekend, and so I figured I would give her even more flowers than she's already receiving. Um, and then my other song is A Lonely Night by The Weeknd from his Starboy album. It's one of the lesser known songs, but I still really like the groove and funkiness in it.
Definitely gotta check that out. I think that was a really good album.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. Rihanna did a great job at the
Yeah.
Super Bowl. I that's probably why I tuned in. So
I think I saw a
the
stat.
Rihanna concert at the football game.
I mean, I don't watch football like ever, so Super Bowl is like more like what concert are we getting for me?
Yes.
I think I
That
saw a
and the
stat this
ads.
this weekend that more people watched the Rihanna halftime show than the actual Super Bowl.
Yeah, there was like 5 million more viewers or something like that.
Yeah,
I
something
swear. Like I
crazy.
read
Yeah.
something like that.
Well, awesome. Thank you so much for joining us today, and we really appreciate all your stories and all your just great, great comments and thoughts about Make a Wish. We really appreciate your time as well.
Of course. Thank you so much for like taking the time to chat with me. Like I said, I just thought this was a really great thing that you're all both doing because we just really need like young people to like hear more about Make-A-Wish. Because at the end of the day, it's a children's organization, but I feel like a lot of young people don't really know about how they can get involved and just like hearing other people's experiences. Like I hope that inspires more people, like college age or a little older to start thinking about volunteering or working for Make-A-Wish.
Yeah. We really appreciate like you coming on here and just like it's been great because we had like more insight into how kind of that happens and a new career path if we wanted to like pursue that. And I think that's just a great way to get more people involved and kind of learn more about Make-A-Wish. So we really appreciate that. And thank you so much for being a guest. And as always, the Wish Kids wish you well.
We would also like to thank all of our wonderful nurses and doctors that we have had along the way and remind you that they are healthcare professionals, not us.
Please keep in mind, any medical information or stories shared and discussed in this podcast are based on personal experiences and are not meant to serve as medical advice. Please talk with your doctor about any medical concerns, questions, and guidance as they are trained medical professionals.
Any brands, corporations, trademarks, or characters in the show, even those based on real people, are purely fictional.
The Wish Kids wish you well.